Welcome back to Purpose, Passion, and Love TV. I think we're on episode 4. And as you can see down below, the title of this one is Time to Go to Work. So let's go back now and talk about why it's time to go to work. And this time, we're going to give you the whole picture. So, believe it or not, this seed was planted for me when I was 6 years old. I had went to a park with, I think one of my uncles took me to a park, and I heard these dudes. They was talking about somebody from my hometown. Y'all, my allergies acting up, so excuse me with the stuffiness. But this dude, he was back home after losing an athletic scholarship, and one of the dudes said, "Man, ain't nobody from Thomasville gonna ever be nothing." And as a 6 year old, that hurt me. It cut me because that's where we was from, and even at 6, I knew that that was some form of self-hatred. I knew something was wrong with that picture. So, fast forward since way back then, you know, I realized and we have seen that people from my hometown of Thomasville, North Carolina, and small towns like it, not just small towns like it, but small areas in big cities where sometimes people never leave a block, but it's the same concept. I knew something was wrong with that. And even at 6, I said, I'm gonna prove this dude wrong. So, but since then, I come to find out that number one, greatness ain't defined by a certain type of job or accomplishment or well-being or you know if you taking care of your family, you lawfully taking care of your family, taking care of yourself, your responsibilities. It's greatness in that. And then besides that, it's been plenty of people from my city and cities like that have gone on to do great things. But there was still a problem. It's still a concept, still a mindset that if you're from a certain place, you gotta leave it in order to make your situation better or achieve a certain level of greatness. Now, I'm gonna admit that in order to sometimes, in order to strike it, sometimes you do gotta get out of that light of your old self and how people see you, to really realize who you are at times. But everybody don't get that responsibility, or everybody don't get that opportunity all the time. So what do you do if you never had that opportunity, or if you missed that opportunity, or you was never knowledgeable of such opportunities? What do you do? Because everybody don't get that, and everybody ain't raised in an environment within these places to where that type of knowledge is readily available. And then besides all of that, if the only way to, because what I just said is true, if that's the only way to make it to greatness or see yourself in a different light, then that would mean that everything we learned about God ain't real. If God can do anything according to our faith, then what does it matter where I'm at? And again, I'm gonna go back to sometimes you do have to be moved, but the concept is this: you got to be able to make that change within yourself before any of that matters. And I'll take you back to a time, the worst time, probably the lowest point in my life. Um, and I had a cousin that ran a casino, and Nothing was going right for me. I mean, just stuff piling up. So I had a cousin that ran a casino and at the time in Detroit. And he called me one day. He said, "Man, Reg," he said, "Man, you need to get out. You need to leave, man." He said, he had me a job valeting cars. He was telling me how much money a valet can make, you know, and everything was set up, but I turned it down. I turned it down for a couple of reasons. One, my son was still very young, and even though I kind of fell into the category anyway, I was real self-conscious about not being around for him as he was growing up, and I stayed in town and the circumstances of my struggle and some of the decisions I made, it caused me to not be around anyway in certain parts of his growth. So, that's still uh, a challenge. But that's one of the reasons I stayed. And then the other reason I stayed is, as hard as it may be to believe, this mission of proving that the change happens within self first was a big part of me staying because, number one, there's no way to inspire those that don't get out if I would have left in order to reach this level of understanding. And then number two, I had to, I'm saying I had to, I'm going to make myself bigger than what I am. It's just something that was inside me that I had to complete, it was very important for me to complete it from my hometown, from being in town. And so it was just instilled in me that I do that. And those are the two main reasons why I stuck around. And so to get me to this point, it took a lot. It took a lot not to run. Uh, if you have purchased the book, uh, I think the first poem in the book is called Holy Oasis. And Holy Oasis it's written from a few different perspectives in my life, but one of the main perspectives that it came from was a place of where was thinking suicidally at one time. So it was completely a choice for me to uh, suffer this struggle and go through this struggle because everybody don't have these opportunities. Everybody don't have a family member that can offer them the opportunity to just uproot and leave and go somewhere and already have a roof over your head, already have a job, already have transportation lined up. I mean, it was set up nice, but it was against my vision. And so I stayed. And it reminds me of during that time, I met a lady one time. I was coming out of the barbershop, and this lady, I think she was selling donuts for a church. And she must have noticed something in my spirit, and she started talking to me about what was going on. And I was telling her that I was thinking about leaving town, to try to get some things right. And the lady said something to me that it stick with me to this day. She told me, she said, and it confirms my theory of what I'm telling you now. She looked at me, she said, "Baby," she said, she said, "wherever you go, you got to take yourself with you." When she said that, I understood right then that whatever I had inside of me that had caused uh, me to underachieve, and I got that answer. We're going to get to that in a minute. I knew at that time that I had not solved that, and me taking that to Detroit or wherever else the opportunity presented itself, it wouldn't have done me no good. And so that seed that was planted as a 6-year-old, that concept that I began to understand after I flunked out of school, what's real ironic, and I might have said it in another video, I didn't really start reading and understand the value of reading until after I flunked out of school. And one of the books I read, uh, Success Gems by Jewel Diamond Taylor, when it explained the concept of what the scripture really means on a human level, when it says seek the kingdom first and the rest shall be added unto you. You got to go inside to get that. It ain't about going somewhere and moving somewhere or none of that right there. Now, once you find that self and you learn to identify that self within you, then once that opportunity come, okay, now it's probably it's the best thing for you to do is remove yourself from the environment. But sometimes your fight might be right there in the environment. Sometimes God might want you to change who you are right there in front of the people and the situations that stymied your growth in the first place. So it's a thin line. We got to quit telling people what they are capable of because of where they are. Because at some point when you start doing that, you take the power away from God, and then you put that power into the hands of the people with the lower mindsets that might be still looking at you or me or whoever as the person you used to be or as the person that they know you as. And so once I learned this, and like I was saying in the previous video, all of these have been steps that have led. I was 20 years old when I came across this knowledge. I'm 53. The struggle has been changing the person. And it's a tough struggle. That's why, you look at biblically, some of the stories they took, if you pay attention, they took years for the lesson or the fruition or the message to come to play, to come to pass. It's not an overnight thing. Uh, Sometimes some people can make those changes instantly, but I guarantee you, the the knowledge and the road to that understanding, it didn't happen as quickly as the decision was made. And so, what I learned about me was, number one, that skill, the gift that God showed me I had in writing as a senior in high school. It showed me what that gift is for. And that gift is to be the platform to deliver these messages that, number one, God is real. And number two, everybody has some gift that you are supposed to expound on that will take care of you. And then you'll get that gift and its blessings tenfold once you learn how to apply that to a purpose bigger than yourself. And so my purpose bigger than myself with writing is to take that message on the road, give it to young men and young women, especially our young men, because we are designed to be the leaders out here. And as long as we are not in our place as leaders, then a lot of these problems will continue to be a part of this world. And I say that from a place of a man that has not fully taken his place yet. So, like I said to you in the previous video, I ain't speaking to you from a high horse. I'm speaking to you from a place of belief and understanding. It's just a matter of me stepping into mine now. And this video is part of it. And so I told y'all in the last video that there had been one thing that was kind of keeping me attached. Actually, it's more than one, but it's one physical thing that had been kind of keeping me attached to uh, that old self that, from a spiritual standpoint, I could not grow until I got rid of it. And what is that thing, you might ask? Weed. Uh, I ain't even gonna front. It's something I like. Uh, But to put it on a spiritual level, it's something that had begun to take the place of my God, of our God, of God in general, uh, because it became my go-to when things were really, really bad. I needed me a blunt, or if something was coming up and I caught myself wanting to enjoy that moment more, that was my go-to. And so your struggle may not be the same. Your struggle, I mean, it could be anything. Uh, Comfort level, being addicted to a comfort level, being addicted to, sometimes we get addicted to certain people. Sometimes we just get addicted to not wanting to change. Whatever it is, you got to be man or woman enough to pick out yours and say, okay, if I'm here and I'm trying to go here, what's keeping me from elevating? And after a long time of fighting, I finally realized that that's the change. That's the one thing that's not connected to that little boy. Uh, that was my pure identity. And so not only that, because of some of the things that I've done and how I lived, you know, and I'm speaking in terms of recent history, uh, I also have been denying the fact that God won't be the minister. And it ain't about being a perfect person, but it is about having certain criteria in your life to where uh, your words and the life that you walk match. It's too much. We run into too much of people presenting certain things in the word and the lives of those people not matching, and eventually, you know, those people they get life telling them. As they say, excuse me, as they say, the S hit the fan. Uh, and so I had to take that part. I had to get that part out of my life. And it has been a struggle in order for me to grow into being able to try to help people direct themselves and believe in themselves enough to make the necessary changes. Now, let's go back to video one. Everybody ain't in this situation, I understand that. But for those of us that are living out here and we understand that however we got to where we are, there is some holes to be filled. There is some purpose and some understanding to be solved in order to really live a fruitful, I don't want to say fruitful life because I don't want to make it about materialism or nothing. A fulfilled life. A fulfilled life. We talked about before about people having a bunch of things. The money is right, the spouse is right, the kids are doing good. You got all these little toys in the garage you could ever want. You traveling, uh, but there's still some indecision or a lack of fulfillment, and you feel like it's still more. Those types of nagging holes they can hinder you. Not only can they hinder you, they can drag you into a physical sickness and be the cause of your death. Some of them things that show up physically as cancer, all these types of diseases that we got out here, you know, that starts it internally. And a lot of times it's because of unsolved trauma, unsolved internal issues that we never learned to address because this world has made it all about materialistic things. And although, yes, we need those materialistic things in order to, some, I ain't even gonna say survive, to live happily. Let's just put it like that. It's not it's not solving the problem of fulfillment. they don't solve the problems of fulfillment. And so that's why we're here. And that's why my message is what it is. And so, you know, from now on, we're gonna break down the book poem by poem. Right now, I'm thinking of there's a poem in the book, Purpose, Passion, and Love, called Fifth Dimension, Knowledge and Wisdom. And not to insult anybody's intelligence, this video we running up close to 20 minutes, so we're going to jump off here. We have doubled the amount of time I think on the longest video we got so far. And I don't want to talk you to death so much in one video. But in fifth dimension knowledge and wisdom, not to insult anybody's intelligence, you know, just going up 5 dimensions, and many people that believe that there are more. My knowledge is not that deep, but I can get you to 5. The first 3 dimensions are the ones that we know of and see all the time. That's up, down, that's left, right, that's front, back. That's what they put on film when they amaze us with 3D movies, and it look like these things that's on the screen. It's right in front of us. That's what they mimic in those movies. Up, down, left, right, front, back. That's the first 3. The 4th dimension is what is considered as time. And if you know, there's some studying to be done on what we call time too, because it may not be as simple as hands going around the clock if you really get into the weeds of it. Well, the 5th dimension, ironically, and really not surprisingly, is what is left out of what we readily have available to us, and that 5th dimension is the in and the out, and that's where uh, the Bible speaks scripturally of the inside, getting the inside right, so that the outside will shine and mimic what's in the inside. And in 5th dimension knowledge and wisdom, it's kind of talking about people with all these little trinkets and rewards and awards and accomplishments, but still having that hole inside. So again, Purpose, Passion, and Love TV, we like to keep it real deep over here.